Minnesota. Could you talk about Georgia?
Well, we have a tough task and game ahead of us here, going on the road to play a really tough Georgia team, very athletic, really difficult to score on. They have some great athletes and really aggressive defenders, and so we'll have to really prepare well, work extremely hard, and try to do as good a job as we can offensively here in practice today to try to get ready for that. And then they cause you a lot of trouble with their offense, real explosive scores, great athletes, can get to the bucket, and it'll be a big test for us. So we've got to put everything we can into it today and see if we can go get a victory on the road.
You kind of changed your mindset about practice. Talk about how that's been this week, how they've responded, and has there been anybody individually that's really responded well?
Well, I'm sort of taking a wait and see approach of how it goes. I think with this group, we need to see some consistency in practice. But the approach is you just try to make it as competitive as possible. And it was really competitive yesterday. And the two teams, divided 5 on one team, 6 on the other, and they really had to compete against each other. So it was a good day, but I'm not trying to get too far ahead of myself with that. And they need to practice the way they did yesterday every time they take the floor. And if they do that, they'll be all right. I mean, we looked a lot more like a Kentucky team yesterday, but we're just trying to get them to respond and compete, and they did that. But that'll be the focus. And a lot of people stood out yesterday because they played with a competitive spirit and really got after it. So no individual really to point out.
The players that didn't start, that maybe were replaced, was it the other players in the bottom 6 who were kind of played their way up, or were there frustrations with Janae and Denisha that caused you to bench them first?
No, it was on Friday afternoon. We got so we started practice, and I just to try to make certain that everybody knew what was going to happen and how competition had to be the focal point of it. That's when we decided the starters were in the first 15 minutes of practice on Friday. So I wouldn't read too much into it. And Janae responded very well to her situation and played great. And Denisha has every opportunity to play well and play great. And so that's what happened with that particular starting lineup. And that didn't mean that those kids didn't compete the rest of practice, but that was my point, that we laid it down on the line. You can't ease into it. You can't get cranked up. If you really think about us this year, at times we've fallen behind by double digits, and it's just all a product of, and then we flip the game and win by double digits, just like Sunday. And I'm trying to get away from, playing when our back's against the wall, trying to get their back against the wall to start the game and play with that kind of competitiveness the whole game. So that 15 minutes, players did better after practice got going and they realized, hey, this is what's going on. And then Saturday, but that's where the starting lineup came from, the first 15 minutes of practice on Friday.
Did you do that again this year?
We went with the same lineups in practice yesterday, yeah. I don't know what that's going to do with the starting lineup, but the starting lineup for us has never been anything that the starters just shouldn't really mean a whole lot. We need our bench to come through and play real hard, and so we need all 11 competing. And when we do that, then we're a really good team, have a chance to be a great team. And that just hasn't been happening on a consistent level. it didn't happen on Sunday. You had a core group that got in there and was able to flip the game and get the victory. But we have yesterday was more what I'm looking for, but we'll see what happens today.
On Sunday, Jen O'Neill referred to Jalea Sidney as the Ron Artest of your team, that she does all the dirty work, that she does a lot of stuff nobody notices, that she's just one of those kind of clean up everything players. Is that a fair assessment? And, maybe discuss what Jalea's been able to do for you guys the last couple of weeks.
Well, we need to keep her out of the stands. We don't need to let her get into the stands and have any interactions with the fans if that, in fact, she's run our test of our team. I would say that Jennifer and I love each other very much, but we may have some disagreements on how to, describe certain players. But if she's talking about it in a basketball sense, I'm sure that's what she was doing. Jalea really, really gives it everything that she has, and that's why she's in such good favor right now with this team, is because I don't have to worry about her intentions. And she may make plenty of mistakes, and she makes some mistakes, but I don't ever have to worry about whether she wants it or wants to win. Sometimes I have to get her out of the game because she's not making good plays, but it's not because she's not trying. And I really, really got on her yesterday in practice because she worked so hard and to get in position to make layups, and she wasn't making them. And I've tried to stay positive with people and say, you're going to do it, you're going to make it. And finally, I just let loose and just, the game was close against Arkansas in the first half because our post players were 0 for 8 on layups. And so just plain and simple, there's nothing wrong. Well, people think there's something wrong with us, and there is something wrong with us. Our post players aren't making layups, and so there is something wrong with that. So they responded better, and Jalea made a lot more layups after that point. So if she can just make some layups for us, she does a great, great job in other areas, and is somebody that's very important to our team.
As a coach, do you like being the Mr. Nice Guy, or do you kind of like being the villain more?
I just like to win. So whatever we need to do, I'll tell you what I'm not. What I'm not doing is I'm not berating these kids or cursing at these kids. Or I don't think that's the way to lead or to teach. And we need to be, through this. Whatever this is, if this is a challenge or a struggle that we're in the midst of, people still need to be taught and led. But the intensity level, whatever they need to respond to, and I just think collectively as a group, I have to make some adjustments there, and I'm comfortable doing either. I mean, if I could walk in every day and it's sunshine and rainbows and they're blowing people out by 30 points, I don't have to be a horse's tail to be happy. That's not what I need to be. But I don't mind it either. So it's just whatever the situation calls for.
Coach, you said after the game Sunday that Denisha, it had nothing to do with her knee or anything. What did you kind of not see from her, or was it more of how the way Jalea was playing?
I'm not seeing, in that game I didn't see any competitiveness on the defensive end. And, I saw not a consistent competitiveness. She made one of the most incredible, I think probably the toughest play in the game was Thompson's layup when Jessica Jackson, 6'3" and long wingspan, and fouled her, and she still got that ball up off the glass and it went in. That was the toughest play in the game. The second most impressive play in the game was Denisha's offensive rebound in the first half, and you're just not seeing that. So that tells you that the knee's fine. And she's said that she's struggled a little bit with coming back mentally from the first injury she's ever had. And so all of those things are, they are what they are. And I'm not inside her brain and can't get inside her brain, and I can't tell her how to feel. But her knee's in great shape. by every measure that we have as medical people and the information I'm getting. And, she's just has to trust it and turn loose and play. And I think she will. Mr. Nice Guy back for a few minutes. I believe she will.
You finished being nice? Are you
I'm done.
You mentioned Crystal Riley the other day, and some other players have mentioned her to me as sort of being this liaison between them. And I'm sort of wondering what her job title is, when you hired her, what you expected her role to be, and how much leeway does she have sort of to tell you you're not being mean enough, or you're not being intense enough, or?
Well, I'm not sure what, I think she's a staff support associate, what the university calls her. What she is, what she is for me is player relations. And it's not her job to get the players in line or anything, but it's her job to be in every meeting and to be there and to provide feedback from a player's perspective, because she's still close enough to that part of her career where she can say, hey, this is what I think. Or I may just say to her, Crystal, what do you think? Put yourself in the player's position. What do you think about this or that or whatever it may be? And I think, that's valuable for me, and that's why I value her being here. She also has a lot of responsibilities where she's getting to touch a lot of different parts of the program so she can ready herself to be a college basketball coach. So that's the benefit for her. And so, it's she has as much, she's like all the staff, they're free to say whatever they need to say, and I think that's the only way you can ever truly get to where you need to be is by people believing that their input is valuable. And there's been several times. The most impressive thing about Crystal is she can sit in that room with people that have been coaching a while and still disagree with them because she knows the program, she loves the program, she's a product of the program. She has tremendous pride in it. It hurts her when she doesn't feel like we're living up to the standard. And so she's a very strong young woman who gives her opinions very confidently, and she's an invaluable member of our staff.
Jen O'Neill, after the game, she had a pretty big game this weekend, and she said that she came to you and said, I need to know, what you want me to do exactly. She said you kind of stopped doing that. Talk about kind of her response to, last year she started pretty much all year, and now she's kind of on the bench, but then she came back. Talk about her response to the kind of ups and downs of it and what she has asked from you, and what do you kind of see from her with that competitive spirit?
Well, I would first say that when she says she doesn't know what to do in the game, that's sort of what you're supposed to be paying attention to in practice. It's sort of where you get that information is we usually talk a lot about what we're going to do in the game. And so I'm not sure, that sort of tells you maybe where her mind is. In practice at times, she, if a player needs more individual attention, I don't have any problem with that at all. And I think that's what Jennifer needs is, maybe she said that she needed more information.
Yeah, she said specifically that you used to say specifically, this is what we need from you. This is what we need from you, Jen, today. And she said you kind of stopped doing that. And then she came to you before the game and said, this really helped me out. Kind of tell me exactly what you need from me, Coach.
Yeah, I think Sunday before the Arkansas game, I just didn't like where we were Sunday morning in the practice. And she was one of the ones that was, like they're tiptoeing around, worried that we're going to get beat. So I pulled her aside because I knew how important it was for her to respond from Thursday night taking 2 shots to where her mindset needed to be. So I guess she did share with me at that time that she appreciated me pulling her aside. So if that's what needs to happen, I'll make sure I get that done. If she can score 21 points tomorrow night, that'd be great. I might meet with her twice tomorrow.
Coach, against Arkansas, you moved to that zone for a little bit. Is there anything specifically you're looking at to do defensively against Georgia?
Well, Georgia's, I don't know if we can line up in one defense and just stay, the same way all night. I think that they're a team that you need to try to keep off balance. And one thing for us is, if we play with the kind of effort that we had the last 17 minutes of the game defensively against Arkansas, then we can play man-to-man for 40 minutes. But, I need to see that before I'll be committed to not working on any zone. So we're working on zone every day and trying to become a better zone defensive team. We've made tremendous strides. It's really the first time in a long time we've thought that it was a big part of our game plan. But, no matter what defense you're in, you better play really, really tough to beat this Georgia team because they're really good. Yeah, it's a fair question. You hear that the weather's bad, and I just came from downstairs. Our people that we're flying with say no travel issues, so I think it's been some bad weather down there, but apparently it's improving, and we're not taking off tonight until 7 o'clock, so evidently we're in good shape travel-wise. Thanks, everybody. Don't make me mad.